The rain hadn't stopped for hours. It hammered against the windshield in heavy waves while the city lights blurred into streaks of red and yellow across the soaked glass. Ethan tightened his grip on the steering wheel and glanced at the time glowing on the dashboard. 11:47 p.m. Another late-night ride, another stranger. His phone buzzed suddenly. New passenger request. Pickup name, Derek. 5 stars. No profile picture. Ethan sighed and accepted it anyway. Money was money. The pickup location sat on the edge of town near an abandoned industrial district, a place most drivers avoided after dark. As Ethan pulled closer, the streets became quieter. Empty. Still. No people. No cars. Just rows of dead warehouses and flickering streetlights. Then he saw him, a tall figure standing alone beneath a broken lamp. Derek. He wore a long black coat soaked from the rain, but strangely, he wasn't shivering. He simply stood there, motionless, waiting. Ethan unlocked the doors. The passenger slowly climbed into the back seat without saying a word. The moment the door shut, the temperature inside the car dropped. Ethan could actually see his own breath. He forced an awkward smile through the rearview mirror. "Rough weather tonight, huh?" No response. Derek just stared out the window, silent. Something about him felt wrong, not dangerous exactly, just unnatural. Ethan checked the mirror again. The passenger's skin looked pale, almost gray beneath the passing streetlights, and his eyes. They looked tired, sunken, like someone who hadn't slept in years. Finally, Derek spoke. His voice was low and calm. "You ever wonder how you're going to die?" Ethan laughed nervously. "What kind of question is that?" Derek tilted his head slightly. "Everyone thinks about it eventually." The car grew quiet again. Outside, thunder rumbled across the sky. Ethan tried focusing on the road, but he couldn't shake the feeling that the man in the back seat was staring directly at him, watching him, studying him. A few minutes later, Ethan noticed something strange. The route on his app had disappeared. No destination, no directions, just a blank screen. He frowned and tapped it again. Nothing. Derek?" No answer. Ethan looked in the rearview mirror and nearly slammed on the brakes. Derek was smiling now, a thin, unnatural smile stretching across his pale face. "You didn't answer my question," he whispered. Ethan's throat tightened. I don't know. Car crash, maybe?" Derek chuckled softly. "No." The streetlights outside flickered rapidly as they passed beneath them. Then Derek leaned forward slowly until his face was inches from Ethan's ear. "You'll drown." Ethan froze. A cold wave rushed through his entire body. "What the hell is wrong with you?" But Derek leaned back calmly like nothing happened. The rain outside became heavier. So heavy Ethan could barely see the road anymore. His breathing quickened. He grabbed his phone at the next red light and tried ending the ride. Error. Ride cannot be canceled. A chill crawled up his spine. Then, the back seat went silent. Too silent. Ethan slowly looked into the mirror again. Empty. Derek was gone. The rear door had never opened. The seat was dry. No footprints. No sound. Nothing. Ethan's heart pounded violently as he pulled over beside the road. He immediately checked the app. The ride was gone. No passenger history, no payment, no record of Derek existing at all. His hands trembled while he searched the pickup location again, but the app only displayed one sentence. No driver available in your area. Then suddenly, a loud cracking sound exploded beneath the car. Ethan looked up just in time to realize the road ahead had flooded completely. Water rushed over the tires as the car began sliding uncontrollably toward the dark river below. And in the reflection of the passenger mirror, Derek was sitting in the back seat again, smiling. I picked up the passenger a little after midnight. At first, nothing seemed unusual about him. He looked young, maybe early 20s, pale skin, thin frame, the kind of person you forget seconds after seeing them. He climbed into the back seat without saying a word. No greeting, No destination. Just silence. I glanced at him through the rearview mirror. Where to? For a few seconds, he didn't answer. Then quietly, almost like he was distracted, he said an address I'd never heard before. The GPS barely recognized it. Some isolated road far outside town, deep in the woods. I remember hesitating, because drivers usually avoid that area at night. No streetlights, no houses, barely any signal. But before I could say anything, the passenger spoke again. My parents are waiting for me. Something about the way he said it made me uncomfortable. Not sad, not emotional, just empty. The drive took almost 40 minutes, and during the entire trip, he barely moved. No phone, no music, no small talk, just staring out the window into the darkness like he already knew what was out there. Every now and then, I'd catch his reflection in the mirror. His face looked different each time. Not physically different, just wrong somehow. Like the shadows inside the car kept changing around him. Eventually, the GPS told me to turn onto a narrow dirt road hidden between dead trees. The tires crunched against gravel as we drove deeper into the woods. Then finally, I saw it. A house, if you could even call it that anymore. It looked abandoned for years. Rotting wood, broken windows. The porch sagged like it could collapse any second. No lights, no cars, no signs of life anywhere. I slowed the car. "You sure this is the place?" I asked. The passenger leaned forward slightly. "Yes." That single word sent chills through me, because his voice sounded excited now. I looked at the house again. There was no way anyone lived there. "No offense," I said carefully, "but this place looks empty." The passenger smiled. "My parents are inside." I didn't know why, but the moment he said that, every instinct in my body screamed at me to leave. Fast. The passenger opened the door and stepped out slowly. I watched him walk toward the house through the fog. Halfway to the porch, he stopped moving. Just stood there, completely still. Then he turned his head slightly, like he was listening to someone whispering inside the trees. That was enough for me. I locked the doors immediately and threw the car into reverse. But before leaving, I noticed something strange near the mailbox. A faded newspaper clipping nailed to the wood. Curiosity got the better of me. I rolled down the window just enough to shine my phone light at it. The article was old. Really old. But one sentence stood out instantly. "Local family found dead inside home after murder-suicide incident." My stomach dropped. The family photo beside the article was blurry, but I could still recognize the face of the son standing between his parents. It was him, the passenger. I looked back toward the house. The front yard was empty now. He was gone. Every hair on my body stood up. I slammed the window shut and sped back toward the main road. At that point, I didn't care about the fare anymore. I just wanted to get away from that place. A few minutes later, I stopped at an old gas station to calm down. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my wallet. The station was empty except for an elderly cashier watching a tiny television behind the counter. I grabbed a bottle of water and tried convincing myself there had to be a logical explanation. Maybe the newspaper photo just looked similar. Maybe I was tired. Yeah, that had to be it. I paid for the water and walked back outside. The parking lot was silent. No cars, no people, only my vehicle sitting beneath the flickering lights. I unlocked the driver's door and climbed inside, and immediately froze, because someone was breathing in the back seat. Slow, heavy. I looked into the rearview mirror. The passenger was sitting there again, exactly where he had been before. Mud covered his shoes now. His clothes looked damp, and he was smiling, not a normal smile. A wide, unnatural smile that stretched too far across his face. My entire body went numb. I know I locked the doors. I know I watched him disappear near that house. There was no possible way he could be inside my car. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then finally, in that same quiet voice, he whispered, "You left too early." I couldn't breathe. My hand shook violently as I reached for the door handle. But before I could open it, the passenger leaned closer and softly said, "They don't like being alone." It was supposed to be a normal night in Washington, D.C., cold air, empty streets, and just enough rain to make the city feel off. Ethan and Claire had just left a small birthday party near downtown. It was late, past midnight, the kind of hour where the city suddenly feels unfamiliar. Claire pulled out her phone and ordered an Uber. 3 minutes away, she said. They waited near the sidewalk under a flickering streetlight while cars passed slowly through the wet streets. Then, a black sedan rolled up beside them. The driver lowered the passenger window slightly. "Ethan?" he asked. Ethan nodded. "Yeah. Uber for Ethan. Hop in." Everything seemed normal. The car model matched. The driver knew his name. And honestly, they were too tired to question anything. Claire climbed into the back seat first. Ethan followed. The doors locked the second they shut. At first, nothing felt wrong. Soft music played through the speakers. The driver barely spoke. Rain tapped lightly against the windows. Claire checked her phone, then her expression changed. "Ethan, what? Our Uber still says 2 minutes away." He laughed nervously. "What do you mean?" She turned the phone toward him. The app showed their real Uber driver still approaching from another street. A different car, different license plate, different driver. The blood drained from Ethan's face. Slowly, he looked toward the front seat. The driver was staring at the road silently. No Uber sign, no phone mount, no navigation app, nothing. Just darkness inside the car. Ethan forced a calm voice. "Hey man, I think we got the wrong car." No response. The driver kept going. That's when Claire noticed something worse. They weren't heading toward their apartment. The streets outside were changing. Less traffic, fewer lights, empty industrial buildings replacing restaurants and stores. "Sir," Claire said louder, "you need to stop the car." Still nothing. The driver tightened his grip on the steering wheel. The locks clicked again. Ethan's heartbeat slammed against his chest. He pulled out his own phone and tried opening the door. Locked. The driver suddenly spoke for the first time in minutes. "You two need to relax." Something about his voice felt wrong. Too calm, too practiced. Claire whispered, "Call 911. But before Ethan could dial, the driver turned sharply onto a dark side street. No lights, no people, nothing but abandoned warehouses. That's when panic fully kicked in. Ethan reached into his jacket pocket. Inside was a small pocket knife his father had given him years ago. His hands shook as he opened it. "Stop the car!" Ethan shouted. The driver ignored him. Claire started crying. The car sped up. Ethan leaned forward and pressed the knife against the driver's neck. "I said stop the car now!" For the first time, the driver reacted. The car swerved violently before slamming to a stop near the curb. The second the vehicle stopped, Claire unlocked the door manually and jumped out screaming. Ethan followed right behind her. They ran. Neither of them looked back. They sprinted through the rain until they reached a gas station several blocks away. Shaking uncontrollably, Ethan called 911. Police arrived within minutes, but when officers searched the area, the black sedan was gone. No plate number, no rideshare registration, nothing. Almost like the driver had disappeared into the city itself. Police later told them something terrifying. Incidents like this had happened before. Fake rideshare drivers cruising through nightlife districts, searching for distracted people who never double-checked the vehicle before getting in. To this day, Ethan says he still remembers one thing clearly. Right before the driver turned onto that dark, empty road, he looked into the rearview mirror and smiled.